this is a dangerous team that Ben DeLuca leads into Koskinen Stadium. Don't let the 1 seed versus the unseed fool you. Delaware walloped Marist in the opening round on Wednesday in Newark, 25-10. And this side of the bracket has been all upsets. We just saw Michigan beat Cornell and Ithaca in overtime. And of course, Army over Maryland last night. Other side of the bracket, quarterfinals are set. It's all chalk. Hopkins, Notre Dame, Georgetown, Virginia. With that, we say hello. Welcome to Koskinen Stadium. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Alongside the Tewaaraton winner, two-time national champ Matt Ward, I'm Drew Carter. And Matt, this is a matchup where both teams are probably upset about their draw.
Yeah, when the names were announced, both coaches had to shake their heads, right? Delaware, winner 7 of 8, one of the best offenses in the country. Duke, winners of the ACC, #1 seed. This is a tough one. It's going to be a rumble.
Delaware last year beat the 2 seed Georgetown at the Swamp. This year they get the 1 seed in Duke, and they've got the same three-headed monster on attack as last year, led by Ty Kurtz and J.P. Ward. The top 2 point scorers in America this season. And, of course, Brendan O'Neill, one of the 5 Tewaaraton finalists. He leads the way for Duke at 5.3 points per game. O'Neill, Matt, is a guy who came in as a #1 recruit, and he's lived up to the hype.
More than lived up to it. He has been absolutely spectacular for the Blue Devils. 6'2", 225 pounds. Amazing soft hands. He can shoot from the outside. He's a big physical attackman, and he has had a unbelievable junior campaign. One of the front runners for Player of the Year.
Great coaching matchup today. You saw Ben DeLuca greet John Danowski. Those guys worked together in 2014 when Duke won the national championship, and then again in 2015. DeLuca, the former head coach at his alma mater, Cornell, and Danowski, the winningest coach in the history of Division I men's lacrosse. Assisted by Ron Caputo and his son Matt Danowski, Matt Rakowski, and Trey Wilkes. Assist Ben DeLuca, whose Blue Hens last year went into D.C. and knocked off Georgetown in one of the biggest upsets in the history of the men's lacrosse tournament. It's also a Delaware program that all the way back in 2007 knocked off Virginia, who was the 2 seed in that tournament. Jake Naso is a massive story for Duke. He's top 5 in the country in face-off win percentage. These teams matched up last year, and Duke dominated at the X 29-8, and they won that matchup 19-14 here at Koskinen Stadium. 15th meeting all time between the Blue Hens and the Blue Devils, tied 7 wins apiece. Duke, the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, well-deserved. Outright champions in the ACC, and they start with a turnover as it's scooped up by Joe Spears and the Blue Hens, and all of a sudden, we hear a roar from the Delaware faithful. They made about the 5.5 hour drive from Newark, Delaware. There's a huge Blue Hens contingent here. It is a gorgeous evening for lacrosse in Durham. A beautiful day overall. It was commencement day over at Wallace Wade Stadium this morning. A busy weekend here at Duke University. Cam Accioni on that first midfield for Duke, 45 in blue. Here's Ty Kurtz, a 3rd-round pick to the Chaos in the PLL draft on Tuesday. All-time leading scorer for Delaware, #2. Sends it to J.P. Ward, #1, the only 40-40 guy in D1 this year. 40 goals, 40 assists. Nick Jessen matched up with Kenny Brower. Great Blue Devil defense, 20 seconds to shoot. Nice feed, and Delaware strikes first. Jason Kohler, the sophomore out of Mount Airy, Maryland, makes it 1-zip Blue Hens.
Delaware's first possession, showing the world what they can do. Just an unbelievable team goal here. Kohler with a nice backdoor cut. Duke caught sleeping on the back post, and Kohler buries it to the bottom portion of the cage to get Delaware on the board first.
Accioni with the assist. This is a Delaware team that is unafraid and unfazed as they win the faceoff. Logan Premtach sets it up and cuts. Sends a blistering shot past Wilhelm. 2-zip Blue Hens. They score back-to-back goals in 7 seconds.
Just straight off the draw. It's actually 2 in a row that Premtaj has won against Naso off the clamp. And when you get it to the leading scorer in the country, sitting at the point, he's got the Blue Hens fired up, believing here early on in this matchup.
And Premtaj wins another. This is a massive storyline. Told you last year, Duke crushed them at the faceoff dot, 29-8. Early on, Delaware leads 2-1.
And all three clamps, clean wins from Premtaj.
You know, Premtaj wasn't even the guy we expected to start. We thought it would be Roland Hockenberry, who's taken about twice as many faceoffs as Premtaj has this year. But so far, so good for 38 and blue. Second midfield out there for Coach DeLuca. This is Clay Miller, 5'10" redshirt senior. Had it poked free, Kurt scoops it up. Out of Ontario, he's got those trademark Canadian hands. Here comes Ryer Shell, sophomore who went to Boys Latin High School in Baltimore, a national powerhouse. Matched up with a short stick, Charlie O'Connor. Slide comes, and Helm gobbles it up. And the play of Wilhelm will be a huge story for Duke in this tournament. He's a guy who struggled a little bit down the stretch. They need him to be big. Duke on the run, a little sloppy, and it's taken away by Delaware and Kevin Lynch. Ball still on the deck. Tate Watson's got it for the Blue Hens.
Two failed clearing opportunities from Duke here early on. The #1 seed feeling a little heat.
Matt, when you were at Virginia, you played on a #1 overall seed, right? What kind of pressure is that?
I don't know if they'd feel the pressure other than they're playing a Delaware team that's really good, right? So I think when you're competing, you don't really care what your seeds are, especially in college lacrosse where the matchups oftentimes aren't necessarily how you think they would be.
We've already seen 2 upsets in this first round. Michigan and Army winning on the road. Delaware's got a 2-0 lead coming up on 4 minutes in here against the top overall seed. Since the tournament expanded in 2003, the #1 seed has never lost in the first round as Helm makes a save. When we asked Coach DeLuca about the fact that his team did get placed in that opening round game on Wednesday night at home, he said, look, we could have been upset about that. We looked at it from the opposite perspective. We got to host a night game in the NCAA tournament, and that's awesome. And they played like they were excited to be there.
Yeah, Coach DeLuca doing the right thing by his team. You know, you change how you look at things, you'll change what you see. And in a situation where they could be upset, they looked at it as an opportunity to do something great for the lacrosse program.
Here's Brennan O'Neill, matched up with Owen Grant. Best on best. Now Charles Balsamo, freshman from Long Island, takes a peek as the shot clock goes under 30. This is a Delaware team that led the Colonial in scoring offense and defense. Average margin in a game, plus 5.6, second best in the country. Nice move, Aiden Denenza keeps it, shoots it, missed it. Might have gotten a piece of the goalie, Matt Kilcarry. No shot clock reset as of now as it's backed up by Andrew McAdory. McAdory with the wheels around the screen from Balsamo. McAdory shoots low, missed it wide, no reset again. 5 on the timer as Balsamo will reset. Balsamo's got to go. The freshman makes his move. Did not get the shot. Great defense from Jason Sider. That's 3 turnovers against Duke in the first 5 minutes and change. Brendan Powers, freshman from Skinny Atlas, New York. Might be neighbors with Jim Boeheim after the basketball coach retired. Look out, drill check coming. And a takeaway for Duke on the yard sale. Aiden McGuire, the freshman from Hingham, Mass, with a huge play.
Aiden McGuire is an absolute stud. He can fly up and down the field. Playing on the defensive end for much of his freshman year, I would expect his career to start seeing a little bit more responsibility on the offensive end. He's that talented. As you can see here in the substitution game.
McGuire, there he is, right on cue. The freshman has his first tournament goal and some life at Koskinen for Duke.
Credit Aiden McGuire. The heady play in the substitution game. Right here. Gets the ground ball, causes a turnover. The effective clear. And as Delaware was subbing to the midline, Aiden McGuire snuck back to the offensive end and created an unsettled situation to get Duke on the board.
That was a throwback midfielder goal, right? Forces the turnover on one end, scores it on the other. Naso wins the faceoff for Duke. Now tied 2-2 at the faceoff X today. Duke as a team, fourth best in the country at 62%. Naso, their primary faceoff guy.
And Naso has an uncanny ability to adapt and learn throughout the course of the game. Petey LaSala for Virginia has kind of been his biggest nemesis, and this year figured him out and really took over.
Nice feed. That shot was blocked. I think Owen Grant, 81, got a piece. Again, a skip pass. Dyson Williams couldn't hold it. Picked up by McAdory. That's funny, right? LaSala's the nemesis for Naso, but Duke is the nemesis for Virginia. Blue Devils beat him twice in the regular season. They beat him like 18 times in a row in the regular season.
The first matchup this year, though, LaSala won the majority of those faceoffs. The next game, Naso made some pretty big adjustments and ended up dominating the X.
Big screen, big collision. Williams picks it up. So good in the tight quarters around the crease. Grabs it with 10 on the timer, but he stepped in the crease, so it's Delaware ball. Delaware, the best clearing team in the Colonial, 91% this year, fifth best in D1. They lead the Colonial in pretty much every category. Offense, defense, scoring margin, assists, shot percentage, man-up percentage, turnovers per game. Every statistical category, it's the Blueheads basically at first. Beat Towson and Stony Brook to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Last year, they didn't just beat Georgetown. They were tied with Cornell in the quarterfinal matchup, and the Big Red went on to play in the national championship. Nice move from Jessen. To a teammate, and it's Ty Kurtz again. That's 2 for Kurtz in the first quarter. And Delaware back up by 2.
Nick Jessen sweeping to the left hand, trips and falls, and then the ability to get that pass off and to get it off in an accurate manner, truly impressive. And Kurtz gets the third for the Blue Hens, up 3-1.
back to a beautiful day at Koskinen Stadium in Durham. Convocation Day, Mother's Day, NCAA Tournament first round day. And Delaware has made the trip down from Newark, and they do not look phased against the top seed in the tournament, the Duke Blue Devils. This is more of the same from the Blue Hens after they cracked Marist 25-10 in the opening round at home on Wednesday. They could have easily been upset that they had to play in that game at all, considering they're 13-4 this year, 12-4 entering the tournament. They won a game in the NCAA tournament last year. They were clearly not too upset, or they were playing angry, one of the two.
And to me, 38 points. This is a Delaware team that is very team-oriented. They are great finding space in the interior. They have the ability to throw the soft touch passes. And to me, in this matchup, I think athletically, you give the advantage to Duke. But when you play team offense, it doesn't matter as much. And Delaware is really good at the little things that can lead to upsets.
They also just win a lot of games. These teams both came into the first round with 13 wins, which was the most of any team in the Big Dance. Army and Georgetown tied them yesterday with 13. And another face-off win for Delaware, picked up by Logan Premtage, the face-off man. Goes all the way back to Matt Kilcarry, the all-CAA first-team goalie this year. And Blue Hens got to clear it before that shot clock hits 60 at the bottom of your screen, and they do. All 5 shots for the Blue Hens have been on goal. 2 goals for Ty Kurtz. He's the leader in the conference in goal scoring this year, now with 56 on the season. Cam Accioni, who's got an assist already. Back to X for Mike Robinson, who scored 7 goals against Marist. Here comes Kurtz. Crease dive. A flag comes in. Will they count the goal? Yes, they will. It's not on the scoreboard here at the stadium yet.
There's been no official decision made yet as the refs talk this through. Usually when you get a push in the back and the goal happens, it's a goal. A good goal.
Got it. A hat trick for Ty Kurtz.
And I think the question was they were looking at, did his body land in the crease before he put it in the back of the cage? But Ty Kurtz with the early hat trick. Matched up against one of the best defensemen in the country, in my opinion, Kenny Brower. Very little angle. Let's see here, is the ball in the goal before he lands? It is. I think that's a good goal. A good job by the officials talking through that. Honestly, without the push, I still think that's a goal. He didn't land in the goal mouth. He was behind the cage. What an individual effort from Kurtz.
And it wipes out the penalty, so we'll play even strength as Ty Kurtz has a hat trick. Shout out to Joanne Kurtz, his mom, here on Mother's Day. Not just Ty on the team, but his younger brother Reed as well. I have a feeling the Kurtz parents, Trevor and Joanne, are in the house today because it seems like everyone associated with Delaware lacrosse is here at Koskinen Stadium. A massive Blue Hen contingent has made the trip. Blue Devils early on with 1 shot on goal and 4 turnovers in the opening 10 minutes. Here comes Garrett Ledman with a head of steam. He is dangerous. He blows it by the goalie Kilcarry, but skips it wide.
Ledman is improved at such a high level his senior year. Just a stud athlete. Able to get to the middle of the field. He shot the ball well.
Williams, a pure goal scorer, has his 52nd of the season. And that's not really where we see him operate all the time. Usually it's around the crease with the slick Canadian hands. That time he shoots from the wing.
And Dyson Williams does a nice box fake here to get his hands free. Kilcarry probably wants this one back if you look at the low angle on the shot. But Dyson Williams, one of the best in the business in putting the ball in the back of the cage. That fake gets his hands free. Kilcarry read it, just unable to stop it as Dyson Williams nets an incredibly important goal for Duke here to stop the Delaware run.
Again, it's Premtage who wins the clamp and wins the draw. Big cheer from the Delaware faithful as they have another offensive possession with under 5 to play in the first quarter, leading by 2 on the home turf of the top overall seed.
And I don't want to start a storyline here, but if I'm Duke, a couple games ago they pulled Wilhelm from the cage. Didn't make a ton of saves. Right now, I don't think he's seeing the ball. He's going to need to make a couple saves here to get this Duke defense settled in.
Yeah, 2 saves, 4 goals allowed so far for Helm, the grad student and transfer from St. Lawrence. Time and room, and a shot that is fired high from Mike Robinson. 30-goal scorer this year. Scored 53 last year to lead the conference. J.P. Ward. 83 points this year, second in the country behind only his teammate, Ty Kurtz. And Kurtz takes the shot, Helm all over that one.
Credit Duke's defense there, doing a really nice job locking down the individual matchup. Stevenson making life hard for J.P. Ward.
Brower steps across midfield. Getting hounded. Defenseman trying to get rid of it. And he does to O'Neal, who provides the outlet. And here it is, O'Neal versus Grant. Maybe the best matchup you'll see all year. O'Neal fires it off the crossbar. Ball's up for grabs, and it's scooped up by Tate Lawson.
This is a Duke team that's become quite familiar with the iron this year. In a game against Syracuse early on, they hit the post 15 times. That is unheard of.
They took 66 shots in that game up at the JMA Wireless Dome and had to go to overtime. Charles Balsamo, the freshman, was the hero there. Powers sets it up. Robinson fires just wide. Ayer's shell will re-trigger. Matched up with Aiden McGuire. Kurt spins it. Robinson thought about it. Instead, takes the step and the score. Mike Robinson, fresh off 7 goals Wednesday against Marist, is on the board in the first round against Duke.
Yeah, a record for this Delaware Blue Hens program in an NCAA game, 7 goals. He missed out on the opportunity just prior to this, but Duke, again, not in great position off ball. And Robinson does a nice job stepping up the field. Boyer, number 11, has to run out full speed, out of control, and Robinson with a nice hitch step to get his strong hand open, running towards the middle of the field as you create more angle as a shooter.
Violation against Duke, their first of the first half. 3.5 leads to a 30-second penalty and a man-up opportunity for the opponent. Delaware has been here before, playing 4 games in a week and a half. It's the same thing they did last year when they went to DC and knocked off the 2-seed Georgetown. Nick Jessen sets it up, the bouncer, a little tall from Kohler, who scored the first goal today. Ward draws the slide. J.P. Ward, so dangerous, the junior out of Maryland. High pass, looked like he lost control of it. And that'll be Duke ball.
J.P. Ward's stick actually broke on the check from Stevenson, and then that's a procedure call on Delaware. I don't know, the supply chain issues are leading to college lacrosse sticks breaking at an unbelievable rate, but I've never seen anything like this year.
Ledman with a nice split dodge. We saw that yesterday at Virginia.
It's almost every game, and you see it more on these, like the defensive middies as they're playing defense with their hands. Sticks are breaking. I think players are always trying to get lighter sticks, which leads to some durability issues.
O'Neal head of steam. Walled off by Owen Grant. McAdory, so quick and shifty. 53 points this year entering today. Denenze scored a goal in 14 of 15 this year.
If you're Duke, I think Brennan O'Neill should touch the ball every possession.
O'Neill tried it with a twister that time. It's backed up in the corner by McAdory.
And look, that's me saying they have tons of talent everywhere else, but Brennan O'Neill is just unique. And he can really get his hands free whenever he wants. I'd love to see them use him a bit more as an initiator.
15 to shoot. Balsamo uses the screen from the big O'Neill. Keeps it. Now Ledman fires. Splash! The hammer of Thor. Garrett Ledman has his first goal today.
And just a nice two-man game here from Balsamo and Ledman. Balsamo draws the adjacent slide. Ledman steps away, gets his hands free. The three-quarter release. We're going to see a slight screen. Kilcarry right off the shoulder. Nothing he can do. When Garrett Ledman gets his hands free that close off a ball movement. Nice team offense for the Blue Devils.
John Danowski could not care less that Garrett Ledman was drafted 22nd overall by the Whipsnakes in the PLL draft. They are locked in on the task at hand. Look at Naso go, weaving through Blue Hens. Tried to get it to Williams, who snares it and will set up the offense. O'Neill, a bull dodger extraordinaire. Tries to set up a runway. Grant presses out. Thomas Schelling in there now for Duke with the second midfield. McAdory surveys, thought about winding it, instead feeds the crease. Caputo's got it. Owen Caputo takes the shot, and Kilcarry on the save, and that'll do it for the first quarter.
Delaware dictating pace of play here early in Durham. The #1 seed Blue Devils down 5-3. This is going to be a competitive one all day long. Don't go away.
Delaware with a surprising start, 5-3 on top of John Danowski's top-seeded Blue Devils after one. You see the NCAA scoring margin leaders, both these teams in the top four. Only Notre Dame outscores its opponents by a higher margin than Ben DeLuca's Delaware Blue Hens. We've got a stoppage here on a sunny day at Koskinen Stadium. After the face-off, And an illegal procedure against Delaware gives it to Duke.
Initially, the call was against Duke for procedure, and after a huddle, the officials change it. Now each team has one violation at the face-off X. 3 violation leads to a man up for the other team.
Charles Balsamo, 26 points in his freshman year. He is a speedster. Gets it back to O'Neal. Finally with some space. He's been hounded by Grant all day. And Grant causes another turnover. That's 5 as a team for Duke. For Grant, his 37th of the season, which breaks his own program record.
6'2", 225 for Brennan O'Neal. Countered by Owen Grant, 6'3", 230.
There aren't many guys who can match up with Brennan O'Neal physically. One of them is on the field today. Owen Grant was the 2nd overall pick to the Redwoods in the PLL draft on Tuesday. He was also a top 3 pick in the NLL draft last September. Here comes Cam Accioni. He's got speed on the setup. Robinson whistles it high and wide. Delaware this year shot 34%, best in the CAA, and 6th in the country. Here comes J.P. Ward, the one guy who's been quiet so far. Ward tangled up. Ward with a step and a goal. J.P. Ward goes diving for his first of the evening. And Delaware is doubling up Duke early second quarter.
This offensive possession for Delaware starts with the great individual effort from Grant on Brennan O'Neal, causes the turnover. One extra check for fun there on O'Neal's legs, but Delaware gets it to the offensive end. And J.P. Ward, a nice job tucking his stick, diving away from the crease.
It's a game of leapfrog. J.P. Ward, last year in that upset win at Georgetown, scored the game winner with 8 seconds left. He also scored the opener. Scored first and last for the Blue Hens in one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport. 10-9 over the Hoyas at the Swamp.
I mean, the story of this game thus far isn't the score to me, it's the face-off X and how Delaware is competing. As Duke does a nice job there on the ride, forcing the turnover. Charlie O'Connor using the sideline as his ally.
Here comes McAdory. Matched up with Lynch. Again, a little careless with the ball as Duke. O'Neal was in the mix, so is Owen Grant. Still loose and picked up by the Blue Hens. That's Reed Kurtz, Ty's younger brother.
That's 3 careless turnovers for the Blue Devils. All the pressure in the world is on Duke in this game. All right, anyone who knows and has watched this Blue Hens team play all year, they're very dangerous. And they've come to play the first face-off. They've been the aggressor.
Nick Jessen again fires. Yeah, ever since Delaware watched the selection show at a Buffalo Wild Wings in New York, they've known that this is a potential matchup they could get and they could turn some heads. That's what they've done so far. And that bouncer goes. It's J.P. Ward again. 2 in a row for the junior from Maryland. 7-3.
J.P. Ward had 40 goals coming into the game, and this is not an easy matchup against Wilson Stevenson for Duke. One of the best defensive players on the team, and there, Ward falling towards the sideline, the bouncer. I'm curious at what Duke's gonna do here in the cage. Helm struggling a little bit.
John Danowski calls timeout. The top-seeded Blue Devils find themselves in a 4-goal hole. last time John Danowski's Duke Blue Devils were a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, they won it all. Their last national championship, their third in 5 years back in 2014. And since the NCAA tournament expanded in 2003, a 1 seed has never lost in the first round. Right now, Duke trails Delaware 7-3.
Delaware knocked off the 2 seed last year. Looking for the 1 seed here in 2023.
Yeah, Delaware is a trend bucker. Last year, beating Georgetown, that was the one top 5 seed to go down in the first round in the last 5 years. This year, we've already seen it once with Maryland. And a couple upsets on this side of the bracket already as Michigan beat Cornell and Ithaca this afternoon. Here comes Garrett Ledman. He is a beast. That shot is saved by Kilcarry out of Lake Sherwood, California in the Santa Monica Mountains. And he tosses it ahead for the clear. Aiden Fritz trying to avoid Balsamo, who's like a piranha. And Denenza gobbles it up.
Balsamo. What a play from the freshman. Pure hustle getting back, slowing down the break.
Balsamo's got it now. Danowski said even in the fall, you could tell this guy wasn't afraid of the moment. Kilcarry kicks that away, but Denenza on the rebound puts it back.
Balsamo in the ride, forces the turnover, and off to the races for the Blue Devils. Balsamo, a nice save from Kilcarry, but Denenza with the alertness to snag the rebound cleanly. An unfortunate break for the Delaware Blue Hens, but an opportunity Duke needed to capitalize on.
Premtaj and Naso again, battling at the dot. Premtaj looked like he was going to have it, but a great stick check from Tyler Carpenter to take it for the Blue Devils.
That was an amazing play from Carpenter.
Jack Gray with a big-time hammer. Missed it wide.
The timing of that check from Carpenter was picture perfect. Premtaj looked to have the advantage, and you could see Carpenter just alter the trajectory and the alignment of him trying to pick up the ball with that perfectly timed check.
The game within the game, the battle for the face-off. It's been awesome so far. 7-6, Duke has the advantage, but they trail by 3. Nice move from Caputo, missed it wide. Race for the backup, closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds, belongs to Delaware. Man, Tate Wasson has been active on the back line. Reed Kurtz clears it for the Blue Hens. 5 minutes into the second quarter, Delaware leads the top seed by 3. Jason Kohler with a runway. Kohler angling down the alley against Will Frizzoli. Cam Accioni, we've seen his wheels on display a bunch. Junior out of Barrie, Ontario, went to the Hill Academy. Accioni trying to get the hands free. Shot clock dips under 30. Jessen, Robinson, Accioni again, finds some space and buries it. Cam Accioni hits the deck and scores. 8-4, Delaware.
Just amazing offense from Delaware. Patience. And again, their strategy is going to be to wear down the shot clock to under 30 seconds. And then Accioni, to his strong right hand, gets to the middle of the field. Delaware's doing a nice job setting up their opportunities, making the defense from Duke expand out, opening up the interior.
Naso bobbles it. Ground ball up for grabs. Carpenter had it, and it's Duke ball. Accioni mentioned he played at the Hill Academy. Brody Merrill, the AD there. We were talking with Ben DeLuca about Owen Grant. He said, guys, the closest thing I've seen to Owen Grant is Brody Merrill. That was the comp. Merrill, at the age of 41, is still playing professional lacrosse and is probably the greatest long stick midi of all time.
Yeah, I mean, the two best players I ever played against, Mikey Powell and Brody Merrill. I mean, he was a game changer. And look, I think all time, greatest player by far on the defensive side, in my opinion. The longevity, but it was more like at his best, there's been no one like him.
So it's high praise for sure, but Grant is a three-time CAA Defensive Player of the Year and a top 3 pick in indoor and outdoor. And this Delaware team defense has been phenomenal today. Joe Spears with a takeaway. That's 7 turnovers for Duke. And the comparison comes from the fact that when Brody Merrill was when he was playing at Georgetown in the early mid-2000s, at that time, defensemen were big, burly, keep your guy away from the goal. Merrill did that, but he was also picking off passes. He was pressing out. He could do it all. Like you said, Matt, and Grant's kind of the same way.
Yeah, at Georgetown, right, one of their all-time great players, Kyle Sweeney, got hurt. Everyone's like, oh, that's a big blow to Georgetown. And guess what they did? They replaced him with Brody Merrill. So
it's kind of like replacing Wally Pipp with Lou Gehrig.
Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. We'll see.
I was going to say Carson Wentz to Sam Howell for the Commanders, but
you're a DC Defenders fan, not a Commanders fan. That goal line extended. Ryer's shell had it poked free. More great defense from Kenny Brower. And it's knocked out of bounds by Keith Boyer.
Delaware is going to have to take this to the cage.
Now, the Blue Hens sideline is asking for a shot clock reset. They won't get it.
And I don't think they should.
5 to shoot. Kurtz curling, throws it over his head. And Helm makes the save. For Wilhelm, that's 4 saves today. Duke now 5 of 6 clearing. Here comes Thomas Schelling. Now McAdory. He's played some midfield and some attack for Duke. O'Neal. Andrew McAdory, one of many Long Island natives on this Duke roster. They played the regular season finale on the island against Merrimack and crushed them. Another save for Kilcarry. A loose ball. Blue Hens have had the edge on the ground today. Caputo in there for Duke. Taken away by the Blue Hens and Kevin McCormick. Jessen tried to make a move, taken away by the Blue Devils. It was scooped up by Jake Caputo, Owen's brother. O'Neal on the setup. Williams stuffs it. Just too easy. O'Neal to Dyson Williams.
Duke picking up the pressure in the middle of the field with the double team. And then what you do, you get it to Brennan O'Neal in space with the nice pass to Dyson Williams. One of the all-time best finishers for this Duke program.
Timeout, Delaware. NCAA men's lacrosse coverage continues next weekend with the quarterfinals. The action begins Saturday, May 20th at noon Eastern on ESPNU. For more information on the 2023 Men's Lacrosse Championship, visit ncaa.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. So, Matt, we got to see Virginia yesterday in the first game of the first round. It was sloppy. It was wet. It was a thunderstorm at Klockner Stadium. They crush Richmond. Now they get Delaware in the quarterfinal in Albany next week. One of many great matchups we should see in the next round. Georgetown in the second round. I'm sorry, I got Delaware on the brain.
I was trying to think through that. No, yeah, I mean, again, Georgetown last night, right, scored 19 goals against Yale, and a team that is scary offensively. Tucker Dordovic, a transfer from Syracuse, scored 6 goals yesterday. This side of the draw, I think, first round matchups went the way you thought they would. A lot of really good, talented teams.
I mean, the Georgetown-Yale game was a classic.
Not a lot of goaltending.
No. Some great offensive talent in that game, though.
A lot of individual efforts for both teams. Great athletes taking it to the rack. Yale was up big early. Kind of lost their way a little bit there in the middle of the game, allowing Georgetown back into it.
Winner here gets Michigan next weekend. So even though the seeded team lost that game, not going to say it's opened up necessarily, because the Wolverines are one of the hottest teams in the country after winning the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, I think on paper, you would have the Wolverines favored by a couple in that game. They won it in overtime against a good Cornell team, but Michigan faces off really well, and they got a great attack.
Unreal effort from Naso, diving for it. Oh, helmet goes flying, and that draws a whistle. No call yet. And it's Delaware ball. Jack Gray lost his lid.
I believe the refs went to alternate possession there, which was awarded to Delaware.
John Danowski saying, well, he lost his helmet, so that didn't just happen by accident.
And then you hear the Delaware parents saying, buckle your helmets, it would stay on. They're ready for it here in Durham.
Kohler, what a shot and a save. Accioni loaded it up. 5 saves for William Helm.
And a nice save off hip from Helm. Settling down here a little bit in the second quarter. Gets his 5th save of the contest.
Really, the only question mark for this Duke team entering the tournament was between the pipes. Helm sputtered a little bit down the stretch.
But he was pretty good all year long, right? He's saving above 50% to me, which is the number, especially in the ACC when you're facing Notre Dame, Syracuse, UVA.
Denenza thought about it. 25 to shoot for Duke. Balsamo now, checked by Reed Kurtz. Denenza took the shot, blocked by Delaware, backed up by McAdory, and Duke with 14 to shoot. Andrew McAdory spins and gives it to Balsamo. Gotta go, 5 on the timer. Williams, he'll carry with the save. Anytime Dyson Williams is in close, you never know.
Dyson Williams with the handle there. I mean, how strong are his forearms to maintain possession and to get a shot off with multiple sticks coming down on his hands. And what we'll notice, right, is Duke loves to play Brendan O'Neill above the cage, and they've done that all year. Where I think that becomes a problem is at the end of shot clocks. he's got to touch that. He's got to be your guy. 10 seconds under, he needs to start with the ball behind the cage to give yourself the best chance to score. Now again, McAdory is a very good player, but not yet at the level of Brendan O'Neill.
Helm with another save. Turns Jessen aside that time. Frizzoli with the ground ball pickup for Duke. 6 saves now for Helm with 3 minutes left in this first half. Frizzoli, the Harvard transfer, clears it himself. Gets it to Jake Caputo.
I just don't think Brendan O'Neill's touched the ball enough. I mean, every possession, I think it should be going through him to initiate the offense. They always kind of default to Balsamo, who's very good, McAdory, but I mean, Brendan O'Neill, member of Team USA. Here we go, behind the cage.
Against Owen Grant. O'Neill 2 shots today and 2 assists, no goals. Grant has done his job. Owen Caputo bumped off his spot. 25 to shoot. O'Neill puts the shoulder down. McAdory, no-look feed. Schelling shoots, bouncer, save, kill, carry. The top save percentage in the Colonial this year at 53%. Goals against of 9.3, also tops in the league. Under 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Clay Miller, 22. Gets it back from Brendan Powers.
And Delaware sticking to the script of playing patient offense. Really not interested in getting into a track meet with Duke.
Shot clock under 30 again. You like that strategy for them?
I do. I think for them, it makes a lot of sense when you're playing a team as talented as Duke. You want them to have possession as little as possible, and it's even more effective now that they're battling at the face-off X.
Kurtz, so crafty, his bouncer missed the net, and a flag comes in as Kurtz hit the deck.
Right here, we'll take a look. The hip check from McGuire, late. Gets a flag. Let's listen here. Let's see what the call is. Is this going to be a releasable penalty or not?
White 23, late hit, 1 minute. 23 white, late hit, 1 minute.
So it's not to the head of Kurtz, so it is a releasable penalty.
It'll shock you to know that Delaware had the best man-up offense in their league this year. 52%, 7th best in the country. Ty Kurtz, the trigger man. After a fast start, just 1 goal combined in the last 8 minutes and 30 seconds of this game. It was Dyson Williams at the 5:30 mark. Some space and a shot low and outside from Mike Robinson. Robinson spins it. On the man up, keep an eye on 45, Accioni. Led the league with 7 man-up goals this year. A feed was picked off and taken away by Duke and Jake Caputo. With 15 seconds left, they can kill off almost all of this penalty and take us into halftime, but they turn it over with 9.5 seconds left in the second quarter. Brendan Powers, before he could get going, a timeout called by Delaware. So Ben DeLuca, we'll see if they can dial something up with 6 seconds left to get a goal.
8.7.
So mentioned this a couple times, but Delaware, a team not fazed by this stage. Last year, they went to DC and knocked off the 2 seed Georgetown in the first round. One of the biggest upsets in NCAA tournament history. The only top 5 seed in the last 5 tournaments to lose in the first round. Blue Hens 10, Hoyas 9.
And a Delaware team built in the same mold as this year. Just a ton of talent on the offensive end, and JP Ward rips the corner from the outside to give Delaware the monumental upset over a very talented Georgetown team.
You could see what it meant for Ben DeLuca, the guy who's been at the pinnacle of this sport. He was the head coach of his alma mater, Cornell, from 2011 to 2013. In those 3 years, undefeated in Ivy League play in his first season. They were number 3 in the national polls in his second season. Made it to championship weekend, lost to Duke, the eventual national champs, in his third season. He was let go by Cornell in 2013 in the offseason after a hazing incident within the program. Came here to Duke 2014 and 2015. Now the head coach of Delaware, and he has led this program back to the pinnacle of the sport. J.P. Ward, got to go. They put a little extra time on the clock.
And so the strategy here from Coach DeLuca was actually curious why he called the timeout there, pushing in transition. He realizes they maintain possession. There's a man penalty still in play. They will be no face-off to start the second half. And a very alert play from Coach DeLuca, knowing how important every possession is.
That's a great call, Matt. So Delaware, in a game where possessions are so crucial, leads by 3 after 30 minutes. Just the third time the top-seeded Blue Devils have trailed at halftime this year. Delaware is not afraid of this stage. Last year they beat the 2 seed. After 30 minutes, they lead the 1 seed. The Blue Hens are hopping around, but the Blue Devils will not go down without a fight. Ty Kurtz, a first-half hat trick for Delaware, and they lead 8-5 at halftime here at Koskinen Stadium. Back to Koskinen Stadium, halftime of this first-round matchup between unseeded Delaware and top-seeded Duke. The Blue Hens lead on the road by 3. Duke as the 1 seed trying to get back to the pinnacle where they've been often, but not since 2014. They won those 3 national championships in a 5-year span starting in 2010. The pre-shot clock days, Matt Ward, a 6-5 final.
And right here, CJ Costabile, the biggest goal in Duke program history, getting them their first national championship. Coach Danowski built a juggernaut. They went to 9 straight championship weekends as a program, getting their first in 2010, and then the Jordan Wolf era, in my opinion, the best player in program history. You replace Matt Danowski and Ned Crotty with Jordan Wolf with the incredible first step as they took it to Syracuse in 2013. And then a matchup again against Notre Dame. The following year, Jordan Wolf finds himself with 2 goals and 4 assists. Right here, the clincher for the Blue Devils as they became back-to-back national champions. One of the best runs in college lacrosse history was that decade of Duke Blue Devil lacrosse.
Game can't go on. Like, what do we do now?
I think they look good. You think so? I don't like the fact you have to have your shirts tucked in. Like, if you had like a t-shirt on, it would look better. But like, honestly, you look fine. I wonder how concessions are doing.
Delaware leads Duke 8-5 at halftime. This would be the biggest upset of the first round here in 2023. Right now, as we speak, the biggest upset was last night in College Park. The defending national champs Maryland, the number 4 overall seed, hosting the Black Knights of the Hudson. Army, Ryan Sposito makes it 5-2. This was 7-2 after the first quarter. John Monero scores there, then Maryland came storming back.
Yeah, and to me, Brennan Urksa from Maryland, number 10 with the assist here. He is a rising star in college lacrosse. Helps Maryland in the comeback effort, and then Brett Makar wearing the storied number 1 of Maryland's lacrosse program, knots at 11. Army had every reason to go away. Maryland had come back from a deficit, but man, were they resilient. And right there, Jacob Morin gives them the 1-goal lead. And right there, the big play, Rupel, the goalie from Maryland, touches that ball, resets the shot clock, gives Army the ability to run it out and get the empty netter to knock off the defending champs. What a performance from the Black Knights.
Those Gunner fellows with the dagger there. Army hangs on to win. You see in the upper half of the bracket, all upsets so far, although Michigan in overtime over Cornell and Ithaca, not really an upset. That was an evenly matched game. Wolverines stay hot after they ran through the Big Ten tournament just to get to the big dance, and Penn State and Princeton wraps up the action tonight, 7:30 on ESPNU. On the lower half of the bracket, all chalk and a lot of blowouts. Notre Dame crushes Utah. Utes making their first appearance in the big dance. Johns Hopkins all over Bryant earlier today. Virginia over Richmond in a slip and slide at Klockner. And then Georgetown Yale, instant classic, defense optional, goaltending optional. 1917, the Hoyas beat the Elis. We've got something brewing here in Durham. 8-5. Delaware leads the top-seeded Blue Devils. Second half, just around the corner.
The 2023 PLL College Draft is in the books. Big Red celebrating like you wouldn't believe. Their man Gavin Adler, the #1 overall selection by the Atlas. Chris Cotter along with Ryan Boyle, Paul Carcaterra. And I don't think it's a big surprise that Adler went first. You love him. He was at the top of your big board.
Top of my big board, top of my mock draft. But you have to take into consideration defensemen typically don't go #1 overall. It's only happened once in pro lacrosse outdoor history. In 2001, Ryan Mollett did go #1 to the Rochester Rattlers. This guy's too good to pass up on, though. Yeah, he's only 5'9", but he wins the leverage matchup every single time. He has the physicality. He has the feet of a ballerina. The balance is off the charts. And probably his best trait is his competitive fire. He loves the big matchups, and he loves shutting down the opponents.
Ryan, the Atlas had 1 and 3 picks, and they went with a defensive player in their first pick. What do you think about as far as the needs go for them?
I think they said, look, we're going to take over this side of the field. We're going to infuse young, athletic talent. This is an area that was addressed previously. But for me, the most important pick of this draft, as we zoom out, was at number 5. Archers needed a #1 faceoff guy. Could they have potentially waited? Could they have risked kind of getting to that 13? No messing around. They take the top guy, Sisselberger, with number 5. And because of that, there was then a domino effect for the latter part of the first round into the early part of the second round where basically teams are saying, I didn't expect Dordovic to be there. I didn't expect Bowen to be there. I didn't expect McConvey to be there. So all of these guys, because Sisselberger went at 5, therefore all these teams that were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that guy is now available to me.
Everybody addressed needs, but in your mind, which team kind of came out of here ahead?
For me, you look at the defending champs, the Water Dogs, and the rich got richer today. I think they got 2 top 10 talents with their pick number 8 and number 16. And obviously, they're drafting from a position of strength, but that addressed 2 sides of the field, offense and defense. And then from there, to get Fake, who's a great matchup against a guy like Matt Rambo, against a guy like Zed Williams, and then to get face-off depth with Riley in the last pick overall. I mean, all roads go through the Water Dogs, and I think that they really strengthened themselves today.
Whip snakes for me. They got the best Dodger in the draft in round 1, Tucker Dordovic. Petey LaSala can be an insurance policy for Joe Nardella. He's faced off more than any person in the history of Division I lacrosse. Garrett Ledman is a 2-way midfielder. He's 6'4". He's absolutely jacked, and he's physical. And then the best athlete in the draft, with maybe the most upside, he'll be a little bit of a project, is Elijah Gash in the 4th round. Coach Jim Stagnita gets him. The Albany Star. The sky's the limit, Cotter.
Sky's the limit for all this young talent. The new influx into the league. June 3rd in Albany is when it all starts.
I'd like to talk to our team. If that's okay.
All right, back here at Koskinen Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. Delaware leads 8-5 at halftime. Head coach Ben DeLuca joining us now at half. Coach, we know you got to go talk to your team, but real quick, what worked so well for you guys in the opening 30?
I just think it was effort, great effort from our guys, great leadership from our seniors, and guys are making plays. So we know that it's more than 30 minutes. We're here for 60 plus, and we got to keep doing what we're doing and do it better. We're ready to be prepared for their counterpunch.
Coach, talk about Logan Premtage at the face-off X, so critical for you guys there.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's just scrapping. He's been doing it all season long. Just really proud of him. And the unit has done a really good job of making it a 50-50 and coming up with a few.
All right, Coach. Thanks, man. Best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Ben DeLuca told us this week that the strategy at the Face-Off X, try to make everything a 50-50 ball, and that has been successful in the first half. 8-7 Duke leads at the Face-Off X. Delaware leads 8-5 on the scoreboard. As we take a look back at the highlights from the first half, Ty Kurtz, 54 goals this year coming in, 3 more in the first half.
The leading scorer in college lacrosse, making an impact early on. Right here, the individual effort behind the cage puts in the back of the net for the first half hat trick. Delaware really took it to Duke early on, and you expect your best players to make those impactful plays early on to build that belief. And Ty Kurtz just absolutely doing what he does best and putting the back of the cage.
This has been the real surprise of the day so far. When these teams matched up last year, Naso was dominant, 29-8. The advantage for the Blue Devils at the Face-Off X in the first half, 8-7. Duke led. You see today 53% for Naso. And Brennan O'Neill, that's another big story. He's been matched up with Owen Grant for a huge portion of this game. He's only taken 2 shots. He does have the 2 assists. Delaware starts with the ball to begin the third quarter. Duke still has a few seconds left on a penalty. And Coach DeLuca called timeout at the end of the second quarter to make sure that they would have possession when the horn sounded. And the Blue Devils start here with 8 seconds left on the man-up opportunity. Second half is underway. Delaware leads by 3. The top-seeded team in the NCAA tournament has not lost in the first round since it expanded in 2003. Penalty is over for Duke. Back to 6-on-6. Jessen's pass taken away in a big collision as Jessen laid the boom on Tyler Carpenter. Here come the Blue Devils. Jack Gray on the run. Now Brennan O'Neill, one of 5 finalists for the Tewaaraton, the Heisman of college lacrosse. He's got 80 points coming in and 2 more assists in the first half. How do you want to see them use O'Neill in the second half?
2 shots is unacceptable for Brendan O'Neill. He should easily, in my opinion, take double-digit shots this half. He needs to be the focal point of your offense. Owen Grant, great player, 2nd pick in the draft for the PLL. Brendan O'Neill can handle that.
Andrew McAdory, lots of speed. He lost his helmet. That's the second Blue Devil to lose a helmet today. With the alternate possession, it stays here with Duke. Lots of Delaware fans here today, and they're saying, tell him to buckle his helmet. Here's O'Neal.
It's
so
interesting,
dangerous.
right? That's a glove that falls off. Loss of possession. Right, that ball's going the other direction.
You can't play without a stick either. That shot on the run into the side of the net, picked up McAdory on the rebound. Blue Devils strike first in the second half, and they've got some juice.
The first couple minutes here for the Blue Devils, incredibly important. Their second goal off a rebound today as McAdory picks it up behind the cage. Kokari just made the save, unable to get back into position, and McAdory gets Duke within 2.
His helmet almost came off again on the celebration.
I'd be interested to see what that halftime locker room was like for the Blue Devils. Coach Danowski, if you know him, I just can't see him raising his voice ever. But if there was ever a moment, I think the halftime of this game would have been it.
Premtaj went down, and it's Duke ball. Yeah, Coach Danowski, he's been in pretty much every scenario you can imagine. ACC Coach of the Year this year for the 4th time, first since 2012. Jordan Wolf, who we talked about at halftime, actually spoiled the news for him. The Blue Devils players wanted to tell him at the end of practice. Jordan Wolf texted him. Dino checked his phone, saw the news, so he learned before his players could tell him. It was a former player telling him. Owen Caputo knocked off his mark. Physicality from Aiden Fritz.
The D middies for Delaware have been impressive. I mean, you hit the word. They have been physical, winning those matchups one-on-one. As a hold here.
Well, too much physicality. McAdory scores through contact. There's a lot of laundry on the field here at Koskinen. Andrew McAdory does not mind.
McAdory with back-to-back tallies. He believes. Right there, the hold. He keeps playing, gets in the middle of the field. Buries it. Look at the emotion. This is everything Duke needed here early in the second half. You can feel the energy and the momentum shifting. The team in white.
Goal wiped away the penalties. McAdory has scored twice in 55 seconds. It's a 3-0 run for Duke dating back to the first half. As Naso goes airborne, Delaware wins another ground ball battle. Risky pass. Caught by Jason Sider, another one of those defensive midfielders who have made their presence felt.
This possession critically important for the Blue Hens. Can they answer the bell?
It's their top midfield line. Gliding out of the field. Here's Nick Jessen. He's had the ball in his stick a lot today. Jessen matched up with Aiden McGuire. Freshman super athlete for Duke. Kohler, 20 in blue, trying to get it to Kurtz and does.
Kirch now matched up with a short stick. A good place for the Blue Hens to attack. Program's all-time leading scorer behind the cage matched up against a short stick.
It was Charlie O'Connor. Slide came, so he sets it up for Mike Robinson. Found a sliver of room, got it on cage and helm, reset the shot clock, doesn't matter. Wilson Stevenson on the ground ball pickup. He's got more than 50 of those this year. Tops on the team outside of Naso.
And Helm coming into his own here. tough start in the contest, but he has bounced back for the Blue Devils, getting his 7th save.
McAdory has scored the last 2, brought some life back to Koskinen Stadium out of the locker room. O'Neal with some space, one more, Williams scores! Dyson Williams stamps the corner. He's got his 10th hat trick of the season, and we are tied at 8.
Duke's keeper, Mr. Helm, with a nice kick save there on the low bounce shot. And Wilson Stevenson with a nice ground ball, and then the great team offense getting the ball to Dyson Williams. Close to GLE, uncontested. His 29th career hat trick.
Naso wins it clean. He's a threat on offense, 5 goals and 3 assists this year. Good setup, Williams again, this time stuffed by Kilcarry. Owen Grant comes out of the pile with it. And Owen Grant, one of the best athletes in the country, carries it across midfield.
How about that ground ball from Grant? Kilcarry with a nice save in the inside. And it's equally a nicer ground ball from Owen Grant to get Delaware their 2nd offensive possession in the 2nd half. Delaware hasn't scored in over 14 minutes.
J.P. Ward in the spin cycle. No-look feed. The shot blocked. Stevenson again in there with Kenny Brower on all-ACC defenseman. Loose ball. Room but up by Duke. It's Jake Caputo. O'Neal makes himself available for the clearing pass.
And a missed opportunity there for Delaware. Nice offense, a nice pass from Ward. Not sure if that shot was blocked or if it was just a whiff.
I think it was going high for a second, and then
it was going backwards.
It got spat back out, yeah. You see the shadows creeping over Koskinen Stadium here.
You have McAdory coming out of the box for the Blue Devils, matched up against the short stick.
So win in the sub game for Duke. Can McAdory take advantage? He's got 2 goals in this 3rd quarter already. McAdory with a step. McAdory bounces it home. Andrew McAdory, a hat trick in the 3rd quarter. He has given Duke the lead.
McAdory. Credit Duke's coaching staff here for getting him out of the box, but let's take a look here on the nice cut, and his shot was blocked.
Stevenson.
By Stevenson, but here again, you could see the coaches for Duke on the sideline giving each other high fives, as that was absolutely coaching to move McAdory to the box to give him that advantageous matchup. He's been a superstar here in the 3rd quarter.
A 5-0 scoring run for the Blue Devils across more than 15 minutes. A hold called against Naso and Duke, so it's Delaware ball. Andrew McAdory has put the team on his shoulders in this 3rd quarter. Blue Devils lead 9-8. It was 8-5 at halftime, Delaware. Jessen with speed. Flips it back, Kohler. Jason Kohler sets up that lefty jump shot. Helm had it. Kurtz nearly poked it free, but William Helm maintains possession and gets it out to Brower.
Delaware, in my opinion, is starting their offensive possessions too quickly. They had a lot of success working the clock in the 1st half. Taking the right opportunity, not the first one. Different story on this Duke run here.
We saw they were so deliberate in that 1st half. Denenza head of steam. Back to McAdory, still playing midfield, has the short stick again. McAdory versus Reed Kurtz. On the dodge, draws the slide. It's another shorty, Jason Sider. McAdory hunting his shot. Hat trick in this third quarter, past the midway point of the third quarter. Ledman, a hop, skip, and a jump into his move. O'Neal now, below the goal. Denenza, shot clock coming up on 10. Balsamo has the short stick matchup now. Shot clock's at 5. Ledman's got to go. Ledman, lefty jump shot. Easy save for Matt Kilcarry. 9 saves for the grad student from Lake Sherwood, California. Accioni avoided the hit from Denenza. There goes Accioni, blazing fast. It's been a long drought for Delaware. J.P. Ward's a guy who can end it. Ward fires, Helm to stop. Again, Blue Hens may be forcing it a little as Helm's pass is a little too tall for Carpenter's intended target. It's picked up by guess who? Owen Grant. Any Redwoods fans watching right now have to be fired up about that guy, and it leads to a goal for Delaware. It's Ty Kurtz with his 4th of the day.
Owen Grant pushing in transition, and again, Ty Kurtz doing a nice job filling to the backside to get his hands free. A monumental goal for the Delaware Blue Hens to knot it at 9. Duke, the number 1 seed, found themselves down by 3 at halftime, and what adjustments did they make? His name is Andrew McAdory. The individual efforts from the attackman, scoring 3 straight goals here, is number 3. He's fired up as Duke back in control from a tempo perspective. The Long Island native set the school record a year ago for points in Duke with the number 2 recruit, showing us why today here as Duke tries to avoid being the only number 1 team to not make it out of the first round in tournament history.
And McAdory back out there now. We've seen him run out of the box a couple times in this third quarter. Now playing attack. So he moved from midfield to attack this year. And today he's done both. Roland Hockenberry, 28 in blue, is in there for the face-off for Delaware. And a procedure violation. Gives the ball to the Blue Hens.
You know, I
And Hockenberry took that face-off. We saw Premtaj limp off the field after the last face-off. Somebody to keep an eye on there.
Sharp angle attempt and a save by Helm. Accioni fired it there and may have forced it.
And I think too many shots down the alley for Delaware here in the second half. They don't really have that midi who can really bomb it from the outside on the run. They're at their best when they're creative inside, finding separation and finding their hands free. Duke will give up that shot all day and be happy about it.
One thing Duke won't be happy about is the fact that Brennan O'Neill hasn't scored today. He does have 3 assists, 39 assists on the season to go with 44 goals. The only 40-40 guy in the country this year plays for the other team, J.P. Ward. Here's O'Neill, one-on-one against Owen Grant. 25 to shoot. Caputo has the short stick, Aiden Fritz. Owen Caputo, grad student out of Apex, North Carolina. Good defense from Fritz. Caputo gets the hands free and a save by Kilcarry. And they will run. Here comes Fritz.
Aiden Fritz has been very impressive today. And if I'm Delaware here, I go back to patient offense. Don't mind dodging down the wings, but throw it through X, attack the backside, try to find someone cutting on the inside.
Maybe a forced pass and an interception from Wilson Stevenson. They tried to skip it. Stevenson, who leads Duke and caused turnovers this year, had the intercept.
You have to be a threat.
O'Neill, sidewinder shot. Kilcarry thought he won the backup. So did the entire Delaware sideline, but they give it to Dyson Williams.
For Delaware on the offensive end, you have to be a threat to open up the skip lanes for those through passes, because if you don't, the defenseman's sticks are up in the air in the passing lanes, and they're going to pick them off. Ty Kirst has to be a force to the middle of the field if he wants to make that skip pass.
Yeah, Kurtz has 4 goals today to lead the way. 2 Blue Devils have hat tricks, Williams and McAdory. Denenza has scored once, 88 and white. O'Neill at X. McAdory, 3 goals in the third. McAdory, he is a jitterbug, trying to find some space against Kevin Lynch. Now Garrett Ledman, so dangerous from outside. Ledman sealed off by Joe Spears. 44, the junior out of Glenview, Illinois, north side of Chicago. 10 on the timer for Denenza. Loaded it up, turns, now shoots. Kilcarry with another denial. 11 saves for Matt Kilcarry. Reed Kurtz clears it for Delaware as we cross 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. A tie game between the unseeded Delaware Blue Hens coming through the play-in game and the top seed Duke Blue Devils. Accioni has initiated from up top a lot today. That's what he does here against Caputo. Here comes Nick Jessen.
This is a better offensive set for Delaware.
Helm out of the goal to meet Ward, forces the turnover.
A slap check from the goalie.
William Helm looks confident in this second half.
Different goalie than what we saw in the first few minutes of this game. And credit him, a transfer from St. Lawrence, his first year here in Durham. Can't imagine it's been anything other than a dream come true for him.
Coach Danowski told us earlier this year he had him stand in front of the team, talk about his experience playing D3. Bus rides, rarely staying in hotels, and if they did, it was maybe 4 to a room. Now playing at Duke, one of the premier programs in college lacrosse and the top seed in the NCAA tournament. Last time they were the #1 seed, they won it all in 2014.
Duke's going to be patient here. They can run the clock to 0.
Balsamo against Shiver. McAdory lost it. More great defense on the perimeter from Delaware. Owen Grant's got it. Good things tend to happen when he does. Here comes Harrison Ewing. 5 seconds left. Kurtz lost it. A turnover by Delaware. Boyer flings it. Balsamo takes the shot at the end. And we go to the 4th quarter in a tie game. Duke outscores Delaware 4-1 in the 3rd. And they level things at 9 with 15 minutes to play.
Duke showing themselves as a physical force in the 3rd quarter as they tie this game at 9 after being down 3 at the break. Nothing better than all-square lacrosse in the NCAA tournament.
Sweeney got lit up. Sweeney bounces right. Kyle Sweeney got lit up. Sweeney bounces right back up and scores! Magnificent. Sweeney got lit up. Sweeney bounces right back up and scores! Magnificent.
We are just a few weeks away from the festivities in Albany to open up the PLL season. John Danowski and the Duke Blue Devils, for them, the PLL is the last thing on their mind. We asked him about Garrett Ledman being drafted by the Whipsnakes in the PLL draft on Tuesday. He said, essentially, couldn't care less. All they're focused on is the NCAA tournament. They are the top overall seed. They trailed Delaware by 3 at halftime. Now they're tied as they outscore the Blue Hens 4-1 in the 3rd quarter. And we head to the 4th, tied 9-9. Back alongside Matt Ward, I'm Drew Carter. Pleasure to be here at Koskinen Stadium to see this awesome first-round matchup as the sun sets on a beautiful evening here in Durham. Blue Hens last year knocked off the 2-seed Georgetown Hoyas in the first round. Biggest upset of the big dance and the biggest upset in a long time in college lacrosse. They're trying to one-up themselves tonight by beating the #1 overall seed Duke. Big collision. Nick Jessen lost it, and Duke takes it away. Blue Devils on the run. Leading the charge, Keith Boyer. The long pole had it poked free. Andrew McAdory chases it down in the corner. He is hounded by Owen Grant, one of the best defensemen in the country.
Accioni there for Delaware. What an individual hustle play. Getting back in the hole and causing that turnover or that disruption.
That could have been a quick strike from the Blue Devils. Duke has caused 10 turnovers, including 4 in the third quarter. A step for Thomas Schelling. He feeds X for McAdory, who scored 3 times in the third. He's got his man hung up. McAdory makes his move.
Still not enough Brendan O'Neill if I'm Duke.
He's got it now against Grant. Breaks his ankle. Fires bouncer too tall. That's really his first good look of the day. Still without a goal, he does have 3 assists. 10 to shoot. Denenza has a goal today. Rolls back, shoots off the side of the net. No reset. 4 on the timer as McAdory scoops up a new ball. McAdory with speed, turns, shoots, kicked away by Kilcarry. And it's Delaware ball. That's a shot clock violation. McAdory just barely didn't get it off. Delaware 17 of 19 clearing today. 91% for the season, 5th best in the country. And they step across midfield here with Jason Sider.
Good things happen on the clear when you can get to the middle of the field. It makes life so much easier to get it to the offensive end.
This is a professional outfit from the Blue Hens. Not afraid of this moment. Brendan Powers shoots and scores. The freshman is on the board in the NCAA tournament. And Delaware is back in front.
Brendan Powers with a nice play in the clear to get into the offensive end. And he stays on the field. And the nice bounce shot here. The face dodge. Gets his hands free. The quasi-twister shot right there to increase his angle. And the bounce shot to the top. Perfect corner. Delaware eats on the sideline.
Matt Montgomery's Selly game is second to none. Naso wins the draw cleanly for Duke. 12-10, the edge for the Blue Devils at the face-off X. Again, O'Neill had it, but they will be patient as he gives it up to Balsamo.
I would just love to see Brendan O'Neill closer to the goal. When you have his size and his skill, it's very hard to push him off target. He plays almost like an exclusive midfielder.
That's flipped, an errant pass, and a Duke turnover. Owen Caputo, I think, tried to get it to a teammate, came out of his stick. A little slippery, and it's Delaware ball. This is Owen Grant trotting across midfield. Now, Matt, O'Neill being so far away from the goal, do you think that has to do with Owen Grant defending him?
It's been the way they've used him all season long, right? And it's obviously had a lot of success because he's an incredibly talented player. I just imagine he'd be a lot more impactful, particularly in this game, if he was closer to the net, right? Because then you have to slide to him. In my opinion, the weakest part of his game is his shot on the run versus what he can do with the ball in his stick, closer to the cage.
Well, look, they're 13-2. They're the 1 seed. O'Neill's a Tewaaraton finalist and very well could win it if Duke makes it to championship weekend. Kurtz lost his stick, and you can't play without one. Nice play by Keith Boyer. Boyer, name familiar in the ACC, his brother Jose. A pull for Notre Dame. Parents Jay and Marianne. Happy Mother's Day to Marianne. Here's Thomas Schelling. Duke mixing and matching on the midfield here as Ledman has it now. Ledman with some space, gives it up. O'Neal on the crease, can't stuff it, and he got whacked. A flag comes in. McAdory sweeps it in and saves it for Duke. A delayed penalty here against Delaware.
But right there, no one's stepping in front of Brennan O'Neal, going that fast. He's that big. Below goal line extended. Really gave him his first quality opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net. But Kilcarry with a nice kick save.
Yeah, sliding to Brennan O'Neal is like stepping in front of an Amtrak. Ledman on the skip pass. Denenza loads it up and scores. We're tied again. That's 2 for Aiden Denenza.
And it'll be interesting to see what the penalty call here is. My guess is it's a slash on Delaware, which will give Duke a man-up face-off, as that would not be an unreleasable penalty, or would not be a releasable penalty.
Owen Grant looks incredulous.
It is a slash. Let's take a look at the slash here. Brennan O'Neal head down. Right there, takes it off the dome. Right here, Ledman, the nice skip pass. Again, him heading north-south towards the goal line opens up those feeding lanes. And Denenza nets his second of the day.
Critical face-off coming up here. Duke is on the extra man for a minute. Owen Grant is in there, non-releasable. Huge face-off win for Logan Premtage, who's back in there. He's been great today, and Delaware calls timeout. A juice face-off win for the Blue Hens. We'll take the timeout with them. What a game in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Top seed tied up with Delaware. Welcome back to Koskinen Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. Tie game with under 10 minutes to play, 10-10, Delaware and Duke. If you're worried about the Blue Hens conditioning down the stretch of this game, don't be, because that guy is their S&C coach, Tom Evans, who competes at World's Strongest Man competitions. He was one of the Green Bay Packers' final cuts in 2017 to the 53-man roster. Former offensive lineman, aspirant, now he deadlifts 855 pounds, and even that might be shortchanging him. I think 864 is what he told us pregame.
Magnus Ver Magnuson
yes.
on the sideline. for Delaware.
Didn't realize I was watching Game of Thrones here on ESPNU. Delaware watched the selection show at Buffalo Wild Wings over the weekend. They said they ordered about 250 blazing wings. Maybe 50 or fewer were eaten. I think all of them were eaten by Tom Evans. Coach DeLuca said that guy's got a plate of bones in front of him before you can even place your order. So 20 seconds left on the Owen Grant slashing penalty. Delaware trying to kill it off, and that is Duke ball. Blue Devils swarming Jason Kohler. They've got 15 ticks left on the extra man. It was a huge face-off win by Logan Premtage before the timeout.
Jason Kohler put himself in a tough position running towards the sideline, allowing Duke to double team him and cause the turnover.
Penalties released. Back to 6-on-6. Aiden Denenza, 2 goals today. Andrew McAdory, 3 goals in the third quarter. Here's Brennan O'Neill, Tewaaraton finalist.
This is where I love to watch him work.
Ledman thought about it. Now, Matt, important to note here, the penalty is over on Owen Grant, but he's still not out there. So Delaware's best defenseman not on the field right now, and he's had the O'Neill matchup basically all night. 20 seconds left as McAdory takes a peek at the shot clock. Denenza looking on the shorty. Denenza with a step bouncer, save, kill, carry. Rebounds up for grabs. O'Neill snares it, one hand. What a play, Brennan O'Neill. A highlight goal from the highlight king. Duke back in front.
The third goal of this game for the Blue Devils, kind of off. Loose balls in the middle of the field. Right here, Denenza gets his hands free. Kilcarry with a nice save. And whoop, the ball's up in the air. O'Neill flies into possession with a one-handed grab. Takes a couple extra steps, the low to high, or excuse me, the high to low release. That's his first of the day.
Incredible one-handed grab. Like he's Samir Hagens playing wide receiver for the Duke football team. A face-off win for the Blue Devils. Aiden McGuire's got the ground ball.
Those 3 juice goals, usually important for the team trying to complete the upset, right? That's usually the team when upset happens, they make a few extra plays, get some breaks that go their way. Today, Duke, 2 goals off deflected shots, and then the loose ball in the middle of the field there finds its way into Brennan O'Neill's stick to give them their first lead of the contest.
Yeah, matches their largest lead today, 11-10. A 1-goal lead for the 1 seed. McAdory, what a dodge. Shot goes high. Race for the backup one by Balsamo. And by the way, Owen Grant, if he were out there on that rebound, who knows if things would have been different. O'Neill went above the trees. Grant's back out there now, 81 in blue. Speed from Schelling as he curls around with under 20 to shoot. O'Neill fires again. Didn't hit the cage, 13 left on the timer. Ledman on the split, draws the slide. Ledman with space now, shoots again upstairs. 4 ticks left as McAdory gets a new pill. McAdory, one last chance on this possession. McAdory with the step. And the shot clock violation as that one misses the cage. Great team defense again from Delaware. Brendan Powers scored his first tournament goal earlier in this fourth quarter. The freshman from Skinny Atlas. Matched up with Charlie O'Connor, Powers is. Now J.P. Ward against Kenny Brower, an all-ACC defenseman. Ty Kurtz has 4 goals today. Jessen. Again, McGuire everywhere. 23 is a bulldog. Leads to a loose ball. And a whistle against Duke.
I think that's a tough call for the Blue Devils. McGuire showing what type of athlete he is. I'm more impressed with him every time I watch Duke play. Just physical, fast, explosive athlete.
They whistled him for a hold, which leads to a fresh 60 for the Blue Hens. Under 5 to play here in Durham. A lot of contact on the screen from Powers. Ward still with it. Wilson Stevenson now matched up with Mike Robinson. What a move from Robinson. Shot was blocked. It's still on the deck. McGuire's got it. What a swim from Aiden McGuire. This guy is everywhere. Duke on the run. O'Connor loads it, scores! Blue Devils score in transition, the 4th of the year for Charlie O'Connor.
And Duke today has had their sticks everywhere. It's at least the second blocked shot for a great opportunity for Delaware here, but it's McGuire on the ground ball and pushes in transition. Right, and how's Delaware gonna play this, right? You got a D-Mitty McGuire coming down the field and passes to another Charlie O'Connor. I like that approach defensively. You're not gonna leave McAdor, you're not gonna leave Brennan O'Neill, you're not gonna leave Dyson Williams. You're gonna let Charlie O'Connor take that shot. Credit to him for executing at the opportunity.
It's a 3-0 Duke run as Naso wins another faceoff. Now 14-11, Duke's edge at the X. So now you start doing the math, right? It's a 2-goal lead for Duke, approaching 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Here's Aiden Denenza sprinting into the sunshine here at Koskinen. See the cause turnover number for Duke. That has not been a strength for them this year. Last in the ACC, 7.5 per game. They've been all over it today. From X, Denenza spins it around, ends up with Thomas Schelling, the Lehigh transfer. Schelling stops on a dime, feeds. Williams kicked away by Kilcarry. What a save for the grad student. 15 stops, but it's a shot clock reset.
And Dyson Williams, one of the best in the business inside. To me, not a bad shot, just an amazing save from Kilcarry. Keeping Delaware in this contest, 3-goal down at this point, particularly how Duke's made some adjustments on the defensive end. Offense has been tough sledding for them since their initial push against this Blue Devils defense.
A great save, but the new shot clock a huge factor here. Seconds are valuable. Errant pass. Ledman couldn't handle it. All the way back to the midfield line. It rolls into the Delaware offensive side, and it's Blue Hens ball. The over and back against Duke gives it back to Delaware with under 3 minutes to play. What do you want to see from the Blue Hens here?
I think for them, they've got to start their offensive possession with a favorable matchup.
Robinson, what a move! What a goal! Delaware back within 1 after the toe drag from Mike Robinson.
And that's the obvious answer. You do a toe drag underneath and you bury it to the top portion of the cage. Robinson coming off his 7-goal performance in the play-in game. With right here, just dips it down by his toes. has Helm going down low. Stings the top corner. The skill off the charts for Mr. Robinson.
Again, a monstrous face-off. Premtaj and Naso. And Jake Naso wins it cleanly for Duke. Gets it ahead to Brennan O'Neill. Naso starting to assert himself. The edge is now 4, 15-11.
That may have been the quickest clamp to... That whistle when he had the clamp, the ball was in his stick within a millisecond.
Balsamo glides behind the goal with 2 minutes to play in regulation. Duke by 1. They've gotten more than they bargained for against the Blue Hens, who came through the play-in game and for the second year in a row in the mix against a top 2 seed.
Let's go, Global.
Here comes the freshman Balsamo. 5'9", 175 out of Manhasset on Long Island. He's got the short stick, John Shivert. Under 20 to shoot now. 90 seconds to play. Screen from McAdory. Balsamo curling. Slide comes. Delaware pressing out. O'Neill waits. O'Neill through the contact, just missed. Did not hit the goal. 6 seconds to shoot. Backed up by McAdory. Blue Devils have to hurry. Balsamo hounded. Great defense from the Blue Hens. And no shot. A shot clock violation. 1:12 to play as Delaware takes over. Head coach Ben DeLuca does have a timeout. 1 minute to play. Blue Hen faithful on their feet here in Durham. And Ben DeLuca wants to talk it over. NCAA men's lacrosse coverage continues next weekend with the quarterfinals. The action begins Saturday, May 20th at noon Eastern on ESPNU. For more information on the 2023 Men's Lacrosse Championship, visit NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. So Brennan O'Neill, you see he's on that Tewaaraton finalist list. He's got 1 goal and 3 assists today.
So I think we can knock CJ Kirst off that list as a potential winner at this point. Typically it's awarded after the season ends. A player that's had a big impact in the tournament gives themselves a big leg up. And Brennan O'Neill has his Duke Blue Devils up by 1 against the Delaware team that won't go away. Had a monumental goal in the 4th quarter.
Duke has never led by more than 1 goal today. Delaware in that huddle. What do you think they're drawing up here?
They have to get Duke to slide, right? So I don't think you're going to start with the ball with Ward or Kurtz. I think you're looking at Powers or Eccioni to force Duke to slide, to get the ball moving, and then find some space inside.
Apologies, it was 12-10 Duke, but this one's been a white knuckler really from the jump. Back in a 1-goal game here. J.P. Ward will start with the ball for Delaware, matched up with Kenny Brower. Brower, one of the best defensemen in the country, all ACC. Ward, Kurtz couldn't squeeze it, and it's taken away. Tyler Carpenter's got it for the Blue Devils. Blue Hens have to press out. Game clock is under the shot clock. Delaware needs a turnover. 30 seconds left. Kevin Lynch defends Andrew McAdory. He's got the wheels to run it out. The goaltender Kilcarry is out of his crease. McAdory still has it. Precious seconds wasting. 15 seconds left in the fourth. McAdory running a marathon. Laps around the Delaware defense. McAdory flings it toward the sky. 3 seconds left. Duke still has it. Blue Devils survive. John Danowski and company can take a deep breath. They got all they could handle against a pesky Delaware team tonight. But the 1 seed remains perfect since expansion, and Duke is headed to the quarters.
Jeremy.
Fans, that concludes tonight's first round game. With tonight's victory, Duke advances to the quarterfinal round this Saturday to take on Michigan in Albany, New York. For more information, visit NCAA.com. Fans, on behalf of the NCAA,
Both coaches addressing their teams in the huddle, and I tell you what, I bet you both of them are really proud of the effort they just witnessed. Credit Coach DeLuca having his Blue Hens ready to go against an incredibly talented Duke Blue Devils team.
And then we'll get one with like the interview.
They had their opportunity on the offensive end to tie it up. They start with the ball with Mr. J.P. Ward, and just a little off on the pass to Ty Kurtz. As Duke picks it up and ends any chance of the upset.
Well, that's been the bread and butter combination for Delaware all year. Kurtz and Ward, the top 2 point scorers in the country coming into this game, both above 80 points. Just could not connect at the end. Credit Tyler Carpenter on the ground ball pickup. Credit Andrew McAdory as well, killing the clock. There were over 30 seconds left when Carpenter got that ground ball. And Duke had to kill him off. And it was basically all McAdory. So this is the first seeded team to win in the upper half of the bracket. We had 2 upsets earlier. Army last night over Maryland. Michigan this afternoon over Cornell. And now Duke holds serve. I mean, look at all those 1-goal finals. This has been an epic tournament already.
Yeah, this side of the bracket, it's been pretty good. And by the way, the Princeton-Penn State game,
yes,
those are pretty close, teams from a skill set. Princeton played an amazing end to their season, winning the Ivy League tournament. And Penn State, a team that not a lot of people had high expectations for at the beginning of the year, really found an identity on the defensive end.
It's been awesome to see the turnaround Jeff Tamburoni has engineered at Penn State. They host Princeton in Happy Valley tonight here on ESPNU.
Connor was cramping up, so.
I just can't get over the effort from Delaware today. I mean, they came in here and punched them in the mouth.
They lose by 1, right? And if you think about 3 of Duke's goals were deflections off shots or a crazy ground ball in the middle. On the 6-on-6 sets, maybe you give the advantage to Delaware all day long. But Duke just a little too athletic, I think, at the end of the day.
Over there.
And you know what? Credit Wilhelm in the cage. Really came on strong after a tough start. But man, did he anchor down the defense for the Blue Devils.
Helm with 11 saves today for Duke as they move on, and Wilhelm joins us now. Will, I mean, what an epic game. How intense was it down there on the field?
I mean, I think you guys saw it from up there. It was definitely intense, more so at some points. We really just needed to find our calm, stay collected, and just play our game. That was really all we had to do.
Got to ask you about Coach Danowski at halftime. Doesn't strike me as someone who gets particularly loud, but was it any different this time in the huddle at halftime?
Hey, this is just like any other game we played this season. Obviously, a little more on the line, but he just reinforced the same stuff he's been telling us all week and just told us to play our game. We had 30 minutes left, and we just had to do everything we could.
Will, for you, D3 transfer from St. Lawrence, now playing in the D1 tournament as the #1 overall seed. What's this transition been like for you all season and then especially today?
I mean, like a dream come true. Playing in the tournament at a D1 level on Duke is, I mean, I can't even believe it. I'm just so happy to be here, and I want to not take any moment for granted.
Will, I've got to ask you, early in the game, maybe a tough start for you. How do you keep your focus, regain your confidence? Because after about the second quarter on, man, you were lights out.
Hey, we knew they were some good shooters, and they had some good shooters. Talking to my D, Kenny, Keith, Wilson, they're, in my head, keeping me in my calm. And, like I said before, it's just playing your game, taking your mind off it, and just stepping to the ball and seeing it. So they really helped me a lot in that front.
Well, great game today. Congrats on the win. Best of luck against Michigan next weekend.
Thank you.
11 saves, 11 goals allowed for grad student out of New York. And now joined by Andrew McAdory. And Andrew, you had that hat trick in the third quarter, but I want to start with what you did at the very end of the game. Sprinting around for, 30 seconds, basically killing the clock by yourself. How's your heartbeat right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's going crazy, but, you don't really think about it. You're just thinking about another week with the boys and, playing for those 50 guys that are graduating next year and, moving towards the end where we want to be.
You guys needed a spark at the start of the second half, and you were that person who made the big plays. How important was it to you to be that impactful player?
Yeah, I mean, we made some adjustments at halftime. It just came out. They put me in some different spots, and, I just tried to take advantage of the matchups that I had. And, my teammates did a great job getting me, in spots and moving around and kind of taking away the slides. And, the coaches just saw what they saw and, put me in spots where I could, do something. And, that's what we did. We just needed that spark. And, all credit to the coaches and my teammates.
Andrew, congratulations on the win. Best of luck against Michigan next week.
Thank you very much.
Credit to Ben DeLuca and the Delaware Blue Hens for the second year in a row giving a top 2 seed all they could handle. But John Danowski's Duke Blue Devils survive and advance to the second round. Coach Danowski, you knew this Delaware team would give you a challenge. What was the key for your team coming back in the second half?
I don't know exactly what was going on, but I can say this, that, we gave up 8 goals in the first half, and Delaware was terrific, right? They're shooting lights out, they're moving the ball, and they're playing with a tremendous rhythm, tremendous confidence. Maybe they got tired. It was hot. They're playing 4 games in, 11 days? Maybe that all caught up to them a little bit. I'm not sure, or maybe we started playing a little bit better. We give up 3 goals in the second half. One of them is on an errant outlet pass. Another one was on a bad subbing situation. So we only gave up 1 goal in the box in the second half. So, probably it's a combination of a couple of those things.
Coach, you're one of the most cool, collected individuals I've ever met. What was your blood pressure like at halftime?
You know what? It was this game scared me all week. Again, you scored 25 goals. You got talent, and they have, well coached. Matt Rakowski, Ben DeLuca. These guys are fabulous, right? And so, I wasn't surprised when it was 8-5 at half, but it was only 8-5 at half, and I didn't feel terrible about that because it could have been worse.
Coach, looking ahead to next week, you guys get Michigan in Albany. What did you learn from today that you can take into next week and then maybe a long run in this tournament?
Well, I think every team, has a crucible moment, where you're looking into the abyss a little bit, and I think we were, at halftime. All throughout the first quarter, second quarter, I thought our guys were really nervous. I thought maybe the pressure of the seeding, the pressure of last game at home. I'm not sure what, but they weren't having fun. That's for sure. And it's it's still a game, and it's about having fun. And that was kind of the mantra at halftime was, fellas, whatever happens here, the last 30 minutes on this field, let's have fun.
Well, it was certainly fun to watch from up here. Coach Danowski, congratulations. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Duke survives 12-11. What a first-round game here at Koskinen Stadium. We'll be back after this to recap the game, get you set for Princeton and Penn State, the nightcap here on ESPNU.